What is going on, members of the Main Event Mafia? We have another monthly exclusive video for you all. We recently did a poll as to what was going to be the next match that we would be discussing here on the channel, and overwhelmingly, you guys chose the Unbreakable, not that Unbreakable, TNA Unbreakable 2005. The TNA X Division Championship was on the line in a three-way matchup that saw Christopher Daniels, the reigning and defending TNA X Division champion, versus Samoa Joe versus the phenomenal AJ Styles, widely regarded as one of, if not the best match that TNA Wrestling has ever produced. It had taken place September 11th, 2005, emanating from the Impact Zone, and there's a lot to unpack when it comes to this all-time classic of a matchup. Now, a quick little backstory as regards to this matchup here. At this time, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels were all main staples of TNA, specifically their X Division, which was predicated on no limits. The X Division itself had become such a staple of the company that it had so much talent, so many great matches and moments across the board in the company's history. Around this time, though, Samoa Joe still is undefeated, had never been pinned inside of TNA Wrestling, and Christopher Daniels, who was the reigning champion for about 6 months, and he would have that record at this point in time. He would have the record of being the longest reigning champion in company history. Of course, the current longest reigning champion would be Austin Aries, who held the championship for around 300 days, running from 2011 to 2012. Now, although this is widely regarded as one of the greatest TNA wrestling matches of all time, I, as a fan, did not see this live or around that time, really. I wouldn't see it too much years later. Around this time, of course, I was very big into the WWE. This was September of 2005. So this was actually just around the time that I actually gained access to Monday Night Raw after watching Friday Night SmackDown for several years at the time. But upon learning about TNA wrestling, the one individual that really got my attention was AJ Styles. As I'm sure many of you guys who are fans of AJ, you guys already know why they call him the phenomenal one. But it wasn't just him, it was Samoa Joe. Those two guys really became the faces of the company and had classic championship moments, matches, and everything in between. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels epitomized what the X Division really became at TNA Wrestling. It can be argued that all of these guys are actually on the Mount Rushmore of TNA stars, with the fourth spot being an ever-evolving names of guys like Kurt Angle, maybe Sting, and whatnot. I do think if you haven't seen this matchup, go out of your way and watch it. It's about 23 minutes long, but that time flies by. What I love about this matchup is there's three different styles of professional wrestling here. Each individual that's involved in this matchup plays a role in the story that's being told. Samoa Joe, who is the brute force, strength is his strength, but he also has a technical aspect to his game. AJ Styles relies on the speed and agility to allow him to create counter maneuvers and also an offensive attack that would propel him to the top of the wrestling world. And for Christopher Daniels, who was a veteran at this point already, had the wherewithal, the wit to maintain control of the matchup throughout its duration. The match opens up with both AJ Styles and Samoa Joe targeting Christopher Daniels and trying to eliminate him from the equation. This story really is predicated on the Joe and AJ Styles rivalry, but with obviously CD as the champion. They try to eliminate that and make it a one-on-one contest. AJ Styles goes out of his way to utilize his speed and has quick pinning attempts to try to throw Samoa Joe off his game. But of course, Christopher Daniels, ever so cunning, would find different ways to intervene in that exchange and try to regain control of the matchup. This matchup has a lot of highlight reel moments that have been replayed over the course of not only TNA history, but professional wrestling in general. Odds are, if you're on Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram, something from this matchup will pop up on your feed. Whether it is the shooting star press that AJ Styles hits from in the ring to the outside on top of both of his opponents, or the flying corkscrew maneuver that Samoa Joe utilizes to attack both of his opponents. There's always something in this matchup that sticks out, and every time I watch this matchup, there's always a newfound appreciation for the innovative offense that all three of these guys help implement to this classic. And once the match begins to break down, that's when it's really at its best. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, of course, do battle throughout the duration of the matchup. But then Samoa Joe is eliminated from the equation, and it's down to CD and AJ Styles. And Christopher Daniels attempts an Angel's Wings onto AJ Styles, but he's able to counter that into a Northern Lights type of a pinfall maneuver and surprises everybody and gets the win. He wins his 5th X Division Championship, and again, this uses a way to propel him up the main event card, really, because AJ Styles, once he wins this championship, he's on a steady incline to being the top man in the company. He had already won the TNA NWA Championship, but he was already on his way up to being a main event and staying at the top. A small detail that I really liked at the end of this matchup too, how frustrated Christopher Daniels was, realizes that he lost his championship, that to a man like AJ Styles, who was undersized compared to someone like Christopher Daniels, who by no means is a giant, but still, that pride that Daniels had, and he loses the championship, so visibly upset, kind of throwing a little bit of a tantrum there. But then the camera cuts over to Samoa Joe, and we just see him boiling. We see the blood begin to boil in Samoa Joe because he recognizes that, yes, he did not get pinned, so the undefeated streak is still somewhat alive, but he recognizes that he may have lost this matchup, but nobody pinned or made him submit. So now this has an asterisk to it. People are going to look at this and say, well, you lost the matchup, and he realizes that he wasn't even involved in the final fall. That would set in motion for the rivalry between AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, which is something we could talk about here on the channel if that's something you guys would be interested in. But this matchup really is an all-time classic, and just don't take my word for it. Dave Meltzer also rated this matchup 5 stars. It would actually be the first and only 5-star matchup in TNA's history up until 2023 when Speedball Mike Bailey faced off against Will Ospreay. Yes, that Will Ospreay. And, Dave Meltzer would give them 5 stars. But it really set the precedent of what an X Division matchup should and could be. When researching and rewatching this matchup, I really got a new sense of appreciation for all 3 individuals. Obviously, Christopher Daniels not really wrestling anymore. Samoa Joe is a part of the Ops, but is really a trios team. And then there's AJ Styles, who just had a matchup with Dominic Mysterio on Monday Night Raw, and I really have been enjoying his stuff in WWE as well. But I just feel like it was really something else to see all 3 of these guys in their prime in TNA. I do think you should go out of your way and watch this matchup if you have the time and you have the energy. I mean, hey, it's on YouTube. You can look up TNA Wrestling's YouTube channel, and it's under the Unbreakable 2005 full event. It is the main event. I highly recommend that you guys go out of your way and check out that matchup. You will not be disappointed. And hey, if you guys have any other recommendations as to what matches you want to see me discuss here on the Main Event Mafia channel, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments. Make sure you like, comment down below as well. And don't forget to check out the last video that we covered. It was SummerSlam 2005 that saw Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels. Of course, none of this would be possible without you guys. So I want to say real quick thank you to everybody here in the Main Event Mafia as well as the J area, continuing to support the channel, continuing to show up for the videos, and just continuing to support professional wrestling. Of course, with that being said, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Don't forget to follow us on all social media sites at JAreaPod_. That's at JAreaPod_ on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. With that being said, guys, I'll see you on the next video.